Alright, the ground cable is in, so the batteries will go here. This cord happened to come with my keyline battery isolator as well as this cord. I believe this is 4 gauge and this is 2 gauge. So, and these are already on there, but I had done another one. It was pretty easy. So the idea is this will ground my battery bank, and I'll set that up here in a bit. Alright, so what we have here are 200-hour AGM batteries, 100 amp hour. I'm going to wire them in parallel, so it's going to make 200 amp hours with 12 volts. So here's my wires. I've cut and crimped them. What I'm going to do is connect these here, and then I'm going to do the same on this side with my ground, and then from earlier, my ground cable that I just set up to the side of the car here, and I'm going to set that there, and then I will set up the isolator from here to the car. And what I've done is, this is the start battery cable, so I cut it. This is my first time. I cut the wire, I stripped it, I put this cap on, and then I crimped it with that. Then I did the heat shrinker with a hair dryer, and it's on there. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I got the keyline battery isolator, and the battery for the van is here, so it's actually very convenient to do all this for once. So I'm cutting the cables now. This is the cable that goes from the isolator to the battery, and I've already cut them, and I'm just going to place this here. That'll hook into there. Alright, I have my battery cable that runs from the battery to the auxiliary battery here. I want to show that. We'll put that under the floor. So now I'm just going to install the isolator just here onto the side. Alright, checking the voltage. The engine running. Looks like it's about 14. Back to the isolator here. I got a fuse here. It's a 100 amp fuse, and I'm using the True Connects fuse holder. It's actually really nice. So I'm going to hook this fuse up from the isolator to here to the battery terminal. And I'm going to do it as well on the other. So these fuses are really easy to work. Basically, you just have that, insert that in there, and then screw it in. Alright, so I wired the isolator there to the ground cable, and then I took some extra precaution. And I wrap this with like a foam, and it runs down through the corner. I got my fuse on it. My 100 amp fuse linked into my batteries, and they're wired in parallel. So now I'm just going to connect the ground to this guy. Alright, so engine's running. You can see it's got a little red light. So just to look at how I wired it again. 100 amp fuse, positive, the ground to that. These run to the back, and I showed you that insulated wire, and it just comes out of this. I didn't see very many installation guides on this, so it's all working. I'll show you the voltmeter. So just to go over the battery system one more time. So I got negative to negative, These are 100 amp hour lifeline batteries, positive to positive. Then my power from the alternator comes in through a 100 amp fuse to the positive, and then I got the ground just down here in the back to the chassis, and that goes to there. So that's how you do it. I've never done this in my life, and I say it wasn't very difficult.